Welcome to my channel. I am attempting Vlogmas and attempting to start a YouTube channel. Over the next month, I hope to have a variety of videos where I'm showing a little bit of what I'm working on or what I'm inspired by. These videos are going to be short, low-key, unedited, and just kind of hopefully some quick inspiration for someone who's watching. I am wearing the Keys sweater by Trin and Nelly. It's official, and I wrote show notes. This sweater is knit with Madeline Tosh DK in a one-of-a-kind colorway from years ago, back when they were still dyeing their yarn in Texas. The contrast is a Nora George, which also sadly no longer dyeing yarn, and it was a 4 Sundays of Advent mini sock set, and I thought the color looked good with the gold, and so I used it. And it has little flecks of blue and little flecks of red, and this sweater was inspired by a podcast. I'm very much not on trend with a lot of things. You'll notice this as a, as a common theme. A lot of my stash is years old, and a lot of things that I was inspired by, from again years ago. And so hopefully it inspires you to kind of like look through your stash and projects that you were excited about a long time ago and make something. But anyhow, I watched a long time ago a Wee Bit Nitty podcast. I don't even think her videos are on YouTube anymore. But she was inspired by Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, the Keys scene, and so she knit her sweater based on that. And I had similar yarn, and so I kind of pegged it for that project and worked on it. Started 2023, recently finished it. I haven't already said that, recorded this several times, so I'm sorry if I repeat myself. Anyway, I listened to the audiobook while I was stitching it, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm kind of working my way through the books and trying to assign a project for each book as I go. So I'm sure I'll talk more about that in the future. So let me talk about some of my projects. My current sweater project is the Romulus pullover, and I'm knitting it with bulky weight yarn. If you look it up on Ravelry, it says it is in English, and it is not. So I've knit enough colorwork sweaters that I kind of have the gist of how to do it. It's not a hold your hand kind of pattern either. It's pretty bare bones of like do the stitches and do this. Like you have, I would. It depends on how confident you are as a knitter of whether or not it will be something that people are comfortable with. But I literally copied and pasted the pattern, put it in Google Translate, put it in a Google document, printed it, and using the colorwork chart. So anyway, so this is what it looks like so far. Kind of wish I had chosen a different color for the sleeve down here for the green, but I maybe should have chosen the brighter green, but here's what it is. It's super fluffy. Here is the first part of the chart. It's interesting because I don't think I've knit a sweater that had you do some of the color work and then start the yoke color work. So I'm kind of interested to see how it works out. So that is sleeve one. The other thing I like to do is I've got a lot of sock knitting needles that I don't really use for socks anymore. These are Knit Pro Zings, but the joins are awful on them. Like you can just feel it. And so like when you're trying to knit socks, like it just catches. And honestly, I don't really use Magic Loop for socks. But when I need to hold stitches rather than use a piece of yarn, which can be kind of sticky, especially if you're not careful and then you split the stitch on the way back. If that's ever happened to you, it's happened to me plenty of times. But I like using just old sock knitting needles that I'm not really using for socks to hold stitches. And I just keep these in my knitting bag just for this purpose. And so that is sleeve one. Here is sleeve two. I like to do my sleeves on double points for as long as I can until the stitches start to, I mean, even that's kind of close to popping off the edges, but I try to do it as long as I can, as opposed to doing Magic Loop, because I find it just a little bit faster, because if you think about it, if you're going round and round and you're pulling that needle every 30 seconds, it adds up. So it's faster until it gets up to this point, and then I switched to my circular when I got up to about here. And I thought it was a little easier to do the color work on a circular as well. I did these on a double point, and it was a little trickier managing the floats around the shorter circumference with that. My yarns have gotten tangled. Whoops. But anyway, so this is the Knit Picks Wonder Fluff. I bought this last year on I think their Black Friday sale. They had a good deal on these. I have another sweater that I made with the same type of yarn, the same brand of yarn, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, and it's one of my favorite winter sweaters. It's just so warm and lightweight and cozy. Here's what the skeins look like. I mean, they're just like It is so nice. This is the Finley Heather colorway. And then this is Kale Heather. This is, I thought I would memorize all of them. Sorry, I got my little tags here. Mountain Fern is the green. This is Black Cherry. Kind of has a little bit of a purple undertone, which would have been better if it had more of a true Christmas red undertone, but it works. And then these are leftovers from my other sweater that I don't know if I'm going to use the darker charcoal, but I definitely plan on using the white when it gets closer to the top of the yoke when it doesn't need as much yardage. And then I want to use this for the base of the Christmas trees when I get to that phase. I've also started, the second time I've recorded this part, the ribbing, especially because like with a 15-month-old, I haven't mentioned my 15-month-old is recording with me, and like if I have a quiet 5 or 10 minutes, sometimes that's the better time to cast on and count and get started, and then that way I can kind of work on this until it's ready. I'll be able to do the whole ribbing now, but I can't continue on to the body with the sweater until I finish this sleeve. So it's kind of like when I get this part done, then I can start the next part. So anyway, so that is that project. My Christmas sweater. I used to have like tons of like ugly Christmas sweaters. I mean, I used to teach, so I would wear them all December long. And I've kind of switched more to like wanting to wear more natural fibers and handmade. So I'm slowly over the next couple of years going to make a couple of Christmas themed colorwork sweaters. That's my plan. The second project I have is an older project. I started these in 2023 and did not work on them last year, and I want to free up the knitting needle, so I started working on them this year. So this is Freckled Whimsy, her 24-day advent from a couple years ago. This is Regia Tweed. It's a deep stash. I really like tweed yarn, so it's just the beige color. And heel flap and gusset, 64 stitch socks, knit prosings. These are my favorite sock needles, 2.25 millimeters. And this one, I think I was about to the same spot with both socks, and I finished this in the last week, which freed up a pair of needles, and I'm motivated to finish this one as well because I want to be able to start more Christmas socks. And here's what the yarn looks like. So that is that project. The reason why I wanted to free up a pair of needles is every year, except for last year, I've been working on a pair of Christmas Advent socks. It's based on a pattern. It was on a blog a long time ago, and it had like colorwork patterns, and it would have like different theme for every day, like knit this color based on your album color, this color based on the weather. It had fun themes, but over the time I just kind of adapted to using the pattern I used it with advent calendars. This one is kind of like a DIY advent calendar. So anyway, so here's my cuffs. Let me show you what I have so far. So I try to start both cuffs before December 1st. This is Knit Picks Hawthorne in the Grants Pass colorway, which is kind of cool because Grants Pass is not too far from where I am. And I'm not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure this is from a Haverland Frankensocks, and I don't know if she's still dyeing or not, but I got these on Etsy, a whole bag of them a long time ago. That should be the name of my episode, a long time ago. Anyway, I have a whole bunch of these, and I put them in one of those little Hobby Lobby boxes, advent calendar boxes, a long time ago, and they've been in there so long I've forgotten what they look like. So it's kind of fun. It's like a surprise advent calendar. I actually plan on reloading the advent calendar at the end of this Christmas season. That way next year I can kind of do the same thing, and it'll be kind of my own curated advent calendar from Stash. That's my plan. So anyway, but basically what you do, and I don't know if the patterns toe up. I like to go top down, so that's what I'm doing. But basically you do 24 stitches the first day, and then you go to the second sock, you do 23 stitches, 22 stitches, 21 stitches, and so on, all the way down the socks, and then you end up with these really cool socks. I actually plan on, they're in the wash now, but I plan on showing a whole bunch of the ones I've made over the years, just because it's kind of interesting to see, I think, what they look like in different yarn dyers' yarns, and also kind of how certain yarns have held up as well. So I'm planning on doing an Advent sock segment at some point, but that's my current project. I need to keep working on that today so I don't fall behind, which I will inevitably fall behind and then end up stitching several days. But it's all good. My other project is I've been collecting 4 Sunday of Advent sock Advents for on and off for a couple years and never actually stitched them. But this year I wanted to stash and I started one. This is Nora George from the same Advent calendar this yarn is. And this is like one of the, I wanted a really Christmassy color. So this one seemed to fit the bill. It is a DK, which I don't think I've ever knit DK socks. I have the sport socks, which I like. And I find I'm a little more willing to try like a pattern because it's a fastener. Anyway, so here is the main color. I am doing knit prosings on 2.75. Hopefully they fit. I think I'm doing 56 stitches. And then here is the contrast that came with it. So this is just a free pattern on Ravelry, which was not in English. So I was like looking at the pictures, trying to figure out what to do. It's a free pattern, but I did a 2x2 ribbing, and then I think I'm doing the right stitch pattern, but it's basically a 3x1 rib. You knit one round, and then the second round you do knit 3, purl 1. That's what I'm doing. Maybe I made that up. I don't know. And then one of the pictures I saw from one of the projects on the pattern had where they had like these 3 little sport stripes, and then it went solid again. So I'm going to try that. I also don't know if I'm going to run out of yarn. They might be very Frankenstein because if I do run out of yarn, then one of the socks will just have a different color foot and toe. But so this is one of my other projects. So I'm hoping to get it. We'll see how much I get finished by next week. I'm hoping I have 1 pair of sock needles free, and then if I finish that sock, I'll have another. I'm just gonna keep starting socks because why not? I'm in the mood. My other project that I started today, spinning. So this is Hello Yarn from the June 2022 Fiber Club Spine Tingler in organic Polwarth. And I thought that the color just kind of had Christmas vibes, like vintage Christmas vibes. So it's got reds and browns and greens and blues. I don't think it's supposed to be a Christmas color, but to me it is. I've not spun Polwarth in a while just because it is a finer wool, so I find like it takes forever. So we'll see how this goes. But I started the other half. This is only half of it. So, and I've been playing with like pre-attenuating, which I feel like I'm not the best at because I found the one I'm spinning now, there's definite thick and thin spots. But I hope to have that in a couple days where I can show you my bobbin in a couple days. Maybe I'll do a video of me spinning. We'll see. But anyway, I'm starting this. And then I have a couple of advent calendars, 2 from last year that I didn't end up opening, and then 2 that I purchased this year. So I'm hoping to show some of that throughout the month. But anyway, that's pretty much what I'm stitching. I'm hoping to keep these videos kind of short and on point, and then kind of just show progress throughout the month on things. And I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you. That's my dog.